I remember his hands, his eyes, the eyes and hands of a tailor. Yes, my grandfather was a tailor, and my father was a person of natural elegance. That's why dressing for me is a little bit more than vanity. Yes, I cannot deny it's fulfilling also my vanity, but it's an element that to me brings me back to my family, my roots, where I'm coming from. That means to the people who pass on to me what is the invaluable and priceless value of kindness or respect. And yet, one morning, more or less 25 years ago, when I'm dressing, facing myself in the mirror, that is to me recognizing who I am, confirming who I am, I'm buttoning up my favorite shirt and I feel sick. Physically sick. I cannot breathe. I have, this sense that something is stopping me to, feel, alive. And I cannot really make anything. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what is happening actually, but I let myself fall into the ground. I don't have the strength to ask for help. Because on the top of this, physical discomfort that I have this, deep sense of being ashamed. Today, after 25 years, I don't feel more ashamed to talk about it because I know exactly what happened. It was, our friend will tell you, a textbook panic attack. I know also the name. The medical definition would have it is globus hystericus. And it's something that is helping me to understand technically, post-traumatic growth, that even when you have a negative element in your life, you can think about it, you can learn about it, you can do something about it. I was not only a boy, can you understand, 25 years ago. I had my first daughter, Sophia. I was living not far away from here. And in that morning, I was right there at the center of my warm and my bright, a center of love with my family. And yet, this, panic attack breakthrough. And the interesting part is that there was no apparent reason why. It was just a normal day of work. There was no justification of, let's say, plausible excess of anxiety. It was just a normal day of work. I know exactly why I'm here today. I'm here not because I have the science or the methods of the knowledge that has been displayed and will be displayed by many colleagues here on this stage. I know why I'm here is because I know exactly what well-being or what happiness is not. I'm here because back then, at that moment, I felt absolutely wrong. I felt in the wrong place, and worse than that, I had no means, no ways to understand how to curb that malaise. I have no idea how to do it. Yes, I understood throughout the years, like the doctor will say, that the brain is plastic. That means that you can create connections, you can create new paths, you can create new ways through which your brain is operating. Yes, I understood later on that it's possible to create positive thinking, to replace negative with positive thinking. And I do understand later on that happiness is not, this enlightenment that it grabs you overnight, or is not a state that you need to conquer, but is a process. It's a journey that you need to embark, little by little, day by day. That is, a transition that is diffuses harmful, the disadvantageous pattern to redefine a whole system of values and dynamics of shared well-being. I know that now, but not then. Because my journey began of feeling wrong. Is precisely the reason why I didn't want to feel wrong that I accepted in 1998, I was a finance director of a company here in Italy, to work 14, 16, 18 hours, no limit. I wanted to prove myself, the studies, the career I chosen, and I never refused any responsibility that's been given to me, even those were not exactly my responsibility. I gave myself no respite in trying to achieve any goal that the company was set, that became more and more unrealistic to the point that were really coming in conflict with my ethics, with my, I would say, deontological values that I really, stand for. And then, on the top of that, there were my colleagues, my boss, and the relationship with my boss and my colleagues was not definitely an healthy one. What happened is that I felt myself probably the only person to feeling this, heavy weight on my shoulders, this sense of constriction, this sense of, inequity. And what happened is that my colleagues, reading my attitude, were interpreting like a challenge to their work, ethics, a challenge probably for themselves. So what happened is that they were rebucking me, they were opposing me. The result? For a long, long time, I felt this feeling of being completely, lost, failed. A lack of professional fulfillment, a feeling of, personal loneliness. We just heard, the risk of that. Yeah, I could not speak to my wife, For my daughter, it was difficult to approach me. And the kid at that age, Sophia was probably 7, 8 by that time. Probably she couldn't name it, but she knew that that was not the same person that she knew before. That morning, in 1998, this panic attack was a big help for me because it forced me to confront with reality. I was depressed. I couldn't go on with that. And, it's interesting because when you confront it with something that, is coming to the point that you don't know what to do, well, the reaction is very simple. Many of us, I think, have made that connection that is, okay, I turn it off. It's not me, it's the company. So I decided, well, if I cannot avoid to feel wrong, and I tried and I failed, it's not me to be blamed, it's the company to be blamed. And that's, the mechanism, right? I said, okay, well, if it's the company to be wrong, I need to do something to, move it out. I never thought about relocating at that point. But, it seems to me the most logical step towards my health. I said, okay, well, if I cannot accept this culture, if I cannot accept my colleagues, if there is an environment that is not conducive to my values, to my ethics, and etc., maybe, I move out. Not just of this job or this company, but I leave my country. I do somewhere else. And the idea was, okay, well, maybe I have an escape. I had the opportunity in the same company to relocate to the United States. The hope I had is to say, well, that decision probably will help me to renovate my motivation, to get out of the bed, get in dress, and find something meaningful to do. To avoid this sense of, let's say, bitter, feeling, this bitter taste of resignation. And when finally I relocated to the US, it seems to work. But it was not really not the case. Those were, and people of my age will remember that, what I would call the BlackBerry era. You remember that? So my role was even more delicate because I was working the quarter of the company, and the company was big, business and operation all over the world. So there was no day and night. There was, no distinction between private life and professional life. I call it the BlackBerry era because, it was kind of normal. It was not just accepted, but kind of inherent to your profession that, you were forced to unbearable pressure. That was normal. Day and night, no difference. Always on duty and always ready to go. That was the claim. But to what purpose? That's precisely the point. It was not just the bitterness of, continuous burnouts, as you can imagine, this depressing sense of ubiquity, the problem. It was really the purpose. That was the issue. That is, the reason why it's important for every company to talk about the purpose. Back then, my insatisfaction was coming to the point that I say, okay, well, why we're doing all this? And the answer from the leadership was, well, my dear friend, the strategy is made by the shareholders. They are the strategy. So, okay, that translation was, well, the purpose is simple, it's earning per share. Okay, no one is naive. Well, everybody doing my job, doing business, will understand shareholder must be at the center of the strategy. There is no doubt about it. But if you are leading a company and you're setting the financial goals exclusively on short-term, goals, there is no concern about what is valuable or what is useful for the people working in the company, for the customers who are buying your product, buying your service. And you cannot harmonize in long run what are the expectations and the values for these three components, people, customers, and shareholders. It's pretty difficult to generate long-term sustainable results. So at the end of the day, not even the shareholder, not even the street is happy. If the obsession to maximizing the results of the quarter is making impossible any reflection on the long-term, let's say, way of working, what is happening is that the quality of the relationship is broken, is completely counterproductive. The performance is impossible. The climate in the company is unbreathable. And it couldn't be otherwise. Without a proper strategy that is harmonizing all the three components of any organization vocated to profit, what is happening is that, there is this permanent sense of anxiety that is coming to the top and percolating down the organization everywhere in any hierarchies. This, anxiety is increasing the ubiquity to the point that is showing what is really is the chronic manifestation of the insecurity of the leadership. If the leader are calling you up every second, every moment, what they are fulfilling is this sense of insecurity. They believe that they can keep everything under control, they can keep at bay the fear that the mechanism can, at any moment jam. But with that premise, this is exactly what is happening. The company is failing. As a matter of fact, what happened back then is that quarter after quarter we were missing our result. But the bosses would never recognize that. It was the forecast was wrong. So instead of entering a dialogue with the company and understand, what has to be fixed, the only thing that was at the center of their attention is, okay, you are not doing enough. Do more. In that context, what it means is that there is no relationship. There is only transaction. that means that the only point is you need to guarantee me this output. That's it. I repeat this because this is a crucial point in my experience. There is no relationship, only transaction. And any framework of human transaction, reduce in this moment, in this way, there is no room for a sincere adherence to common goals. There is no understanding of what is the relationship from one department to another. There is no understanding about the product, about the feature of the product are important for the customer, what is bringing value for the customer, and so forth, because there is no relationship among the people. The environment is, toxic. That was very clear to me. But, in this difficult situation, different from my first panic attack in 1998, I decided not to cling my mind around negative thoughts. Yes, in trying to imagine, my career after US, I devote all my creation, all my, let's say, imagination, all my energy, not to blame the company as I did before, because in the meantime, I've embarked casually into a journey of self-thought, curiosity, very random reading, something that was not really organized or cohesive, but it was, springing out of my, let's say, instinct of curiosity, wanted to know more. And so I started to read a lot of different things, from Kabbalah to, many other elements. And what I discovered is something that, the scholars in the room they taught me, is that the unpleasantness can be magnified by the memory of an experience, but it can also be lightened up. And this is exactly, what I've chosen to do. This path endures, to these days, of course. It became with this, random reading and etc. But I had the, luck to meet a person, my coach, who helped me to develop in a more systematic way all this information in something that was more organized, more helpful for me and for the people around me, that became, my style of management, by which, you need to put attention to your behavior as a manager. You need to invest in the relationship with the people around you. You need to accept mistake, error, as a liberation, as an empowerment for you and for your people. And using respect is very important, because it's a possibility that is arousing, the need and the sentiment of setting responsibility in others. Another element of my random, let's say, reading was Buddhism. I was very interested to Buddhism, and in particular, one concept that I learned that helped me a lot was that, yes, you might have negative thoughts, but these negative thoughts are not you. No? This concept that, we are like a sky that is followed by, these clouds of thoughts, and what is important is let it go. When it's coming, it's going. And you can focus on something that is more helpful for you. Yesterday, we heard a very interesting lesson about the connection between technology and classics. That's what I'm particularly interested. I go back and I went back and read Homer and all the classic literature with different eyes. In Italy, we were reading a lot of this classic literature, but at that age, you really don't understand it. When it's coming, longer time, you understand that the basic of our civilization is these questions about, what is it an instinct? What are the emotions? What are your sentiments? Because when you are playing a leadership role, it's very, very important to understand that you are the weather in the room, we're saying DHL. Your sentiment, your instinct are influencing the climate in the company. And you have a responsibility to control this instinct and try to do the way to really use that for the benefit of the people. Yes, of course, I'm still on this path. It's something that is not finished yet, but it's splendid to recognize that many of these concepts, everything is coming to place, and is really an honor for me to be in the same stage with all the people, all the scholars who are really connecting and making a science. But that journey probably would have ended, would generate nothing if I haven't encountered DHL. If our, let's say, respective growth path wouldn't intertwine at that point in time. So I had the luck, as many of us understood in their career, to meet a company that changed my life. And that was a particular moment, because when I met this company, DHL, the company was not doing well at all. It was really a moment of, let's say, revolution. And probably the company didn't know that time. All we knew is that the company was not doing well and something different might have happened. As a matter of fact, 15 years ago, we had a new CEO, Frank Appel. And Frank's intuition was brilliant. He said, okay, we need to fix many things. We don't have the cash to do what we need to do, and we don't have the right portfolio of products, but let's start from the basics. Let's start from the values. And his insight was very simple. He said, we need to go back to something, maybe obvious, but it's called respect and result. That is, of course, we are a publicly traded company, and we need to return adequately the capital invested in the company. And to do so, we want, and we cannot do otherwise, never compromise the respect to our people, to the people that are working with us as customers, as vendors, to the people who are represented, all the different components, all the stakeholders that are around our company, to the broader society. For instance, we are very conscious of the role that we're playing in terms of sustainability, because we're a big polluter. More or less, we're calculating 1.5% of the entire CO2 footprint in the world, unfortunately, is produced by DHL. It's 40 million tons. So we're very, very aware of that. And that strategy was very innovative, very brilliant, for me, for one specific reason, because it was a generative vision. In DHL Express, the division I have the honor still to serve as part of the board executive, we started this strategy by losing $1 billion a year. That was the baseline. In 3 years, the company turned around and we generate $1 billion profit and cash. And a few years later, precisely 3 years ago, we hit our record of generating more than $4 billion of profit and cash. So a human-centric, purpose-driven strategy is working. And is working and is recognized by the people. As Karen said, we have the honor and the prestige to be considered last year and the year before in Europe and worldwide the best company to work for all. Great Place to Work Association awarded us this incredible result. We have a purpose that is connecting people, improving lives, and this is my job. Every day as CEO of the region Europe, my job is to translate this purpose into facts, into actions, into routines, into sustainable things that are making our purpose alive. Here at the summit today, this concept of the purpose-driven concept may be obvious for all of us because we are champion of this, but 15 years ago was not at all. It was very important for me because I had the opportunity to connect this experience with my personal experience. So I was really, really, let's say, motivated, and I'm still very motivated after 15 years, because it's great to see how the benefit of well-being to individuals, their families, the business, the broader society is bringing value in monetary terms and in happiness. The company is very wealthy and the people are very happy. So that's very important because, I do think that we are on a verge of a revolution, that I call it, human sustainability. Normally, well-being is associated in many companies as, work-life balance. But I don't think is that the concept. I think it's not enough to define, work-life balance. What we do in DHL is to create an environment that is really helping people to be exposed to well-being. Because what happened with Frank Capel is that his innovation was to create a space, imagine a space where people can expand their possibilities. Yes, of course, there was those who, like me, for personal reason, for heritage, whatever, who were maybe more, ready to embrace this change, to do something about it. There was a call upon us to do and act on it. But we have people who are probably not necessarily ready for that. And that's the important thing of what we call Certified International Specialist. That was a program designed by another visionary, Ken Allen, who many of us, of course, will remember. Because different from what it was my experience, where my, let's say, reading was random, casual, it was disorganized, it was something coming out of my curiosity. In DHL, we don't leave it to the curiosity of the people. There is a program which is specifically designed to allow people to have a personal development, a continuous personal development. That's very important because that continuous personal development is a way by which the people are living well-being in a way that they are acting well-being every day. The way they are interrelating each other, the way we receive feedback, with the way we give feedback, and the way we coach people. The supervisors in our company are not super user. Yes, of course, they know their job, but their job is to coach the other people. And to be able to do so, you need to learn. There are science, technique. And in DHL, what is very, very important is this is not just a training program. CIS, Certified International Specialist, I would say is a sort of a practice philosophy. Is a pillar of our identity. Is the reason why we belong. We're very proud of that because it's the way through which we strive to be the best version of ourselves every day. That's what we mean about CIS. So, I very rarely look back. As my colleagues will know, I'm more interested to understand, the future going forward. But, if I look back and share with you my experience, I would say, yes, I've been, around the block a few years now, more than 35 years of experience. And it's definitely true that, I can see two distinct phases of my professional life. The first phase, I didn't feel good at all, as I explained to you. But today, I do. I'm very happy because I feel good, I feel comfortable, I feel, in the right place, because I can see a science around me. I can see the ability, once for all, to avoid this misconcept that happiness is something that the business world cannot really, talk about, Because sometimes, as the scholars say, well, some people will be uncomfortable to associate happiness with profit. It's kind of, maybe romantic or fuzzy or fancy things. And the science that have been exposed is telling me exactly the opposite. Is the fundamental of what is success for the company, is fundamental for the success and the happiness of the people, and therefore is what I call, human centricity or human sustainability. Today, I feel good because I know that success and happiness may be two distinct things. That happiness depends on the relationship, the quality of the relationship that you have with the people with whom you are living, the people with whom you are working, the people with whom you are growing, and the quality of that relationship is important for our happiness, but also for the sustainability of the company. As a matter of fact, I feel good and I feel very happy as an executive because I know that even in these difficult times of wars and uncertainty and many things that are happening in our life, through the things I've learned, I can be resilient. I can face these challenges. I can be very successful despite everything that is happening around me. And if no leader can make you happy or happier than you should do, definitely a human-centric leadership can create an environment where people can thrive, can be the best version of ourselves, can contribute to the benefit of the company and the benefit of the society as a whole. And I'm here very happy because that journey started many years ago, is not finished, and it will probably never finish. But I have the opportunity here to learn new things, to renovate my commitment in making kindness, respect, care for the people, the style of leadership that is working for me, is working for my company, and is working for the society. Connecting people, improving lives, paying attention to respect and result, all these things, to me, seems to be a good purpose, worth not only for working in, but also for living in. Thank you very much.